Hello everybody, this is John Hemlock again, bringing you the final step of the warlock quest for green fire, killing Kanrethad or whatever his name is. This is the room you fight him in. There's a lot of one-shot mechanics in here and stuff that you absolutely have to do perfectly or you'll die. It's a fight. I'm about 30 attempts in getting a kill on it. Before you start the fight, you want to set things up. Use your health stones, give yourself a soul stone, sacrifice your imp, cast your, or eat your buff food, cast your buffs, and then the big thing is you want to set up a portal here, and more importantly than that is you want to come back in this little corner and drop off your little teleportation pad or summoning thing, whatever it's called. And the reason you do that is he will one-shot you with a spell called Chaos Bolt, and you have to line aside it. So here's a look at my talents. I actually recorded this 5 or 6 pulls before I actually killed him, and I changed out 2 of the talents. I spec'd into Dark Bargain and Unbound Will for this. Unbound Will because it will remove a debuff, and Dark Bargain because you can survive a Chaos Bolt if you have it running. And I also used the Minor Glyph of Enslaved Demon. What I would say are the most important talents to have here is the Grimoire of Sacrifice, so you can sacrifice an imp and it gives you his ability Singe Magic, so you can remove 1 dot from yourself quite often, and he will have a ton of dots running on you by the time, well, right off the bat really. And then Kill Jaden's Cunning. If I couldn't cast Incinerates while on the move, I think that I would not play a Warlock. So anyway, when he comes out of the gate, set him as your focus target so that you can see his cast bar, so you can get out of the way of cast bolts and whatnot. Drop a couple of Rain of Fires on his head, and then you get 10 seconds or so here to just DPS away. It's a good time for a Doom Guard. Mine was on cooldown, so I didn't use it. In fact, I think I didn't use it all fight, which I obviously should have. So I could usually get him, and if you can see the recount running down the lower right-hand corner, but for most of the fight I run about 90,000 DPS on him. I finished right at 100 due to some Chaos Bolting and Shadow Burning there at the end. So first thing he does is summon this Pit Lord. Immediately you want to enslave him. If you have the glyph, you can enslave him before he charges and stuns you. Then you want to sick him on Kanrethad and keep DPSing, getting out of Rain of Fires, etc. And this is when you're going to want to start using Singe Magic, as he puts a lot of debuffs on you. And then when Chaos Bolt comes, you've got to position yourself where you can get to your little teleporter pad, watch the cast bar, and then you can come out firing. So like I said, you can survive a Chaos Bolt a couple of ways. One is the Dark Bargain, another one is with Twilight Ward and Unending Resolve, but you don't want to have to do that. When he runs to the middle the first time, you can hit your pet's charge button, and then you wind up a Chaos Bolt, and he takes double damage. Bam, a million hit points right in his face. And then the next stage that happens is imps. He's going to summon 60 imps. So you're going to drop up 2 or 3 Rain of Fires. And the key here is you want to wait till he's done casting, so all the imps are out. And then you're going to Fire and Brimstone, Immolate, and Conflag twice, and use your pet's Breath ability. And then you'll just refresh your Rain of Fire. Might take a few more Incinerates. And the imps are dead, and now you can get out of Fire and Brimstone mode and go back to hitting the boss. And you obviously can't leave too far from this corner very often because you've got to get out of the way of those Chaos Bolts. Another ability your Pit Lord has is a heal. You'll see me use it here, Demonic Siphon. It'll heal you for 300,000, and it's on a pretty short cooldown. Anyway, that big green spell he was doing right there was called Cataclysm. It has to be interrupted with your minion's charge. The next phase that's coming up is Fellhounds. This was the hardest phase for me. One of the keys is you've got to stick your Pit Lord pet over in the corner there so that the dogs don't see him and eat your enslave. That's more often than not, that's what caused me to wipe on this. So when it's the Fellhound time, you drop some Rain of Fires at the entrance, you put Havoc on the first one, and you Chaos Bolt the second one, and they both die. And then after that, I just kind of incinerated this third one to death. Once he's down, you can bring your Pit Lord back. And that right there was by far the cleanest attempt in all my attempts on that first Fellhound stage. And my goal was to kill him before the second Fellhound stage, which I didn't quite do, but it'll be a lot easier if you did. So now it's kind of rinse and repeat, Singe Magic, use your heal button from your Pit Lord, eat a Hellstone, interrupt Cataclysm, wind up a Chaos Bolt, and hit him in the face for 1,000,000 damage. You can wind up another one, but usually with that long cast time it didn't hit near as hard. He does have, if I didn't say it before, he gets a double damage debuff while he's stunned from that charge. So the third phase is the Doom Lord, probably the easiest mechanic to deal with. The Doom Lord can be banished, but the problem I had with that is he would come out of his banish before the fight was over and then be really mad at me. So what I went to doing was I would just target him, stick my Pit Lord on him, and after a few seconds I would just put my Pit Lord back on the boss, and that usually had enough aggro that Doom Lord would leave me alone until the next imp phase. So it worked quite a bit better than banishing him on the first time around. And that, I don't know what that vortex thing is, but it sucks, especially when he drops it right on your portal. So then this is more of the same. Singe magic, heal yourself with your Pit Lord's spell, interrupt Cataclysm, wind up a Chaos Bolt, bam, 1,000,000 damage in your face. So things are going pretty good here, and now once we've gone through these stages, he starts over at the imp phase. So we've seen what happens on the imp phase. Again, the key to me for the imp phase, it took me 6 or 7 tries probably to get through the imp phase, was to drop those 3 Rain of Fires and then wait until they were all summoned, and then Fire and Brimstone, Immolate, Conflag, Pet Breath, and then I didn't have much trouble with it. The problem if you go too early with your Fire and Brimstoning is some of the imps won't get killed because you'll miss them with the Immolate, you'll miss them with the Conflag, and then they run around and annoy you. So it's good to not have to deal with that. So the downside of that imp phase was I got the Doom Lord's attention, and I've got the boss so low right here that I'm trying to just ignore him. I know a Cataclysm's coming. I charge interrupt it with my Pit Lord. I wind up that big Chaos Bolt. Here it comes, and I get stunned. So I get pissed off, and I finally decide to banish the Doom Lord. Wind up another Chaos Bolt, and I get stunned again. It was terrible timing. Those 2 Chaos Bolts would have made quite a difference. I almost die. I finally remember to eat a Hellstone, use Singe Magic. Now I know Fell Hunters are coming, and I'm in trouble. So he's really low. I use Howl of Terror, gets my Pit Lord off of me and one of the dogs, and then I'm just hoping I can run around and shoot this guy enough to kill him. In my running around, you'll notice I get way out of position here to dodge the eventual Chaos Bolt. So I use Unending Resolve and Dark Bargain, which would have allowed me to survive it. I don't think he gets it off. I think I finally killed him there, but I would have been able to survive that Chaos Bolt. So that's the Green Fire quest. It takes just a lot of practice, and you kind of have to be perfect on some stuff. That Fell Hunter phase I really struggled with over and over. One last thing about Soul Stones. I didn't use one here. It's not going to win the fight for you unless it's a pretty specific circumstance, because if you pop back up with your Soul Stone, you've lost your portal pad, you've lost your teleport, you've lost your imp buff from sacrificing your imp, and it's just really tough to reset all that. So I was excited about having won the quest, so I dropped my new fire, and disappointingly it looked a lot like my old fire. So then I figured, well, maybe I should read that text that popped up in the lower left hand corner there and click on him like I'm supposed to. And that turns out to work out quite a bit better for me as I get launched up in the air and I do my best Greg Louganis in zero gravity to finally actually finish the quest. So it was a lot of fun. It was really hard. It was as challenging a thing as I've probably done in the game. My eye level, if you're wondering, was 523 when I finally got him. And that's probably about what it's tuned for. You know, this came out when Throne of Thunder was the main raid, so you would expect that they'd make it doable in like 522 type gear. So let's see. I'll just drop it over here. That looks better. That's green fire. And if you'll notice, all my icons on my bar changed to green, as did my embers in my little resource bar there. So that's kind of interesting and fun.